Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin with a question that may quietly challenge everything you believe about freedom. What if the very thing you think limits your freedom is actually the only thing that can give it to you? Most people spend their lives chasing freedom, freedom from responsibility, freedom from routine, freedom from effort. And yet, strangely enough, they never quite arrive. They move faster, but they go nowhere. They stay busy, but they stay broke financially, emotionally, spiritually. Tonight, if you stay with me until the end, you may discover a truth so simple, yet so powerful that it can redraw the blueprint of your future. Because hidden between where you are and where you want to be, there is a bridge. And that bridge is called discipline. Now, discipline is not a popular word. It doesn't excite people. It doesn't trend on social media. But let me tell you something worth writing down. Discipline weighs ounces. Regret weighs tons. We all must suffer one of two pains in life: the pain of discipline or the pain of disappointment. Discipline is the pain that builds muscle. Disappointment is the pain that builds excuses. Freedom does not come from doing whatever you feel like doing. That's not freedom, that's chaos. Real freedom comes from doing what you should do long after the mood has left the room. A person who disciplines their time gains freedom in their schedule. A person who disciplines their money gains freedom in their choices. A person who disciplines their mind gains freedom in their future. You see, goals are wonderful. Dreams are essential. But let's be honest, goals without discipline are nothing more than polite fantasies. Everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants a better life. But not everybody is willing to do the small, boring, uncomfortable things every day that success demands. Here is a life principle that never fails. What you do daily matters more than what you do occasionally. Success is not a single dramatic act. It is the quiet result of small disciplines repeated every day. Reading 10 pages a day, improving one skill, choosing effort over ease. These tiny acts may look insignificant, but given time, they create extraordinary results. Discipline is simply a few easy things done every day, while failure is a few easy things left undone. And here's the irony. The disciplined person looks restricted at first, but ends up free. The undisciplined person looks free at first, but ends up trapped by debt, trapped by poor health, trapped by regret. If you want tomorrow to be different, you must become different today. And that transformation begins the moment you say, I will no longer negotiate with my excuses. Decide once, then let discipline carry the load. Because when you master yourself, you master your life. When you control your habits, you control your direction. And when discipline becomes your bridge, freedom becomes your destination. So start small. Start today, and one day you'll look back and realize discipline didn't take your freedom, it gave it to you. Thank you. Most people spend their entire lives searching for freedom, yet very few ever stop to define what freedom actually is. They believe freedom means doing whatever they want, whenever they want, without rules, without routines, without restraint. But if that definition were true, then the most free people on earth would be those with no schedules, no commitments, and no discipline. And yet, when we look closely, those lives are often the most chaotic, the most stressed, and the most limited. Here is the great paradox of life. Freedom is not found in escape, it is found in structure. Structure is not a cage, it is a foundation. A bridge does not limit your movement, it enables you to cross dangerous ground safely. In the same way, discipline creates the structure that allows freedom to exist on the other side. Consider time. The person who refuses structure says, I want freedom, I don't want a schedule. But what happens? Time drifts, days disappear, weeks are wasted, and suddenly years are gone with little to show for them. Meanwhile, the person who disciplines their time, who plans their day, protects their priorities, and honors commitments, gains freedom later. Freedom to choose better opportunities. Freedom to rest without guilt. Freedom to say no because their life is already organized around purpose. Discipline is not about punishment, it is about direction. Look at finances. Many people say they want financial freedom, yet they reject financial structure. They spend first and hope later. They avoid budgets because they feel restricted. But the truth is, lack of structure creates financial slavery. Bills become masters. Debt becomes a prison. Stress becomes a constant companion. On the other hand, the person who disciplines their spending, who tracks plans and invests with intention, eventually buys freedom. Freedom of choice, freedom of generosity, freedom from fear. Structure today creates options tomorrow. Health tells the same story. The person who avoids discipline says, I want to enjoy life now. But without structure, energy declines, strength fades, and medical limitations replace freedom. Meanwhile, the person who disciplines their body, who exercises regularly, eats with intention, and respects rest, gains freedom of movement, clarity of mind, and vitality in later years. Structure preserves freedom. Neglect destroys it. Here is a powerful truth. Every form of freedom has a price, and that price is discipline paid in advance. Airplanes follow strict structure, checklists, systems, rules. Because of that structure, they can fly freely through the sky. Musicians practice scales daily. That structure gives them freedom on stage. Athletes train relentlessly. That discipline allows freedom of performance under pressure. The same law applies to life. Without structure, emotions lead, and emotions are unreliable guides. They show up late and leave early. Structure, on the other hand, remains when motivation disappears. It carries you forward when excitement fades. The people who live the most fulfilling lives are not those who escaped responsibility, but those who embraced structure early. They built habits. They kept promises to themselves. They did the small things consistently. So if you feel trapped today, don't look for an exit. Look for a system. If you feel overwhelmed, don't run, organize. If you want freedom, don't escape discipline, build it. Because freedom does not come from removing boundaries. Freedom comes from building the right ones. And when structure becomes your ally, freedom becomes your reward. Most people underestimate the power of small things. They believe that life changes only through big opportunities, dramatic decisions, or once-in-a-lifetime moments. They wait for a breakthrough, a miracle, or a perfect time to begin. But life doesn't change that way. Life changes the way a tree grows, slowly, silently, and daily. The greatest transformations are not the result of one heroic effort. They are the result of small disciplines practiced consistently. A small discipline is something simple, so simple that it seems almost insignificant. Reading 10 pages a day, saving a small amount of money, waking up 30 minutes earlier, choosing a better conversation over a useless one. On their own, these actions look unimpressive, but when repeated daily, they become unstoppable forces. Here is a truth worth remembering. Success is the accumulation of simple disciplines repeated every day, while failure is the accumulation of small errors in judgment repeated daily. Both are easy, both are subtle, but their destinations are worlds apart. People often say, "What difference does it make if I skip today?" And that is exactly the danger. One skip day feels harmless. One excuse feels reasonable. But habits are built not in dramatic moments. They are built in the ordinary decisions. No one is watching. Daily disciplines shape identity. What you do each day is not just producing results, it is producing you. If you practice discipline daily, you become disciplined. If you practice neglect daily, you become careless. If you practice learning daily, you become valuable. And the most dangerous thing about neglect is that it rarely hurts at first. Missing one workout doesn't weaken you overnight. Skipping one day of learning doesn't make you ignorant. Spending a little extra money doesn't create instant poverty. That's why people ignore these small decisions. The consequences are delayed. But make no mistake, consequences are patient. In the same way, small disciplines don't reward you immediately. Reading today doesn't instantly make you wise. Saving today doesn't instantly make you wealthy. But given time, the results become undeniable. The difference between where you are and where you could be is not talent, it is daily practice. Massive life change does not require massive effort. It requires consistent effort. The secret is not intensity. The secret is continuity. Think of a plane leaving its course by just 1 degree. At first, the difference is invisible, but given enough distance, it lands in a completely different destination. That is the power of small daily choices. Discipline does not demand perfection, it demands persistence. Some days you will feel motivated, some days you won't. But discipline does not consult feelings. It follows decisions. It shows up when emotions don't. And when discipline becomes a habit, progress becomes inevitable. Start small, but do it daily, but do it imperfectly. Stay consistent and stay patient. Because when small disciplines become your lifestyle, massive results become unavoidable. One day, people will call your success an overnight miracle. You'll know the truth. It was built quietly. It was built daily. It was built one small discipline at a time. Everyone has goals. People want better health, more money, stronger relationships, and a meaningful life. Ask almost anyone what they want, and they can tell you in seconds. But ask them what they are doing daily to achieve it, and the room gets quiet. Because having a goal is easy. Living the discipline required to achieve it is rare. A goal without discipline is not a plan. It is a wish. Wishes are comforting. They make us feel hopeful without demanding change. Discipline, on the other hand, asks for action. It asks for commitment when the excitement wears off. It asks for consistency when progress is slow. That is why many people stay in the wishing stage for years. They love the dream but resist the discipline. A goal gives you direction. Discipline gives you movement. You can write the most inspiring goals on paper, repeat affirmations daily, and visualize success all you want, but if discipline is missing, progress will always be missing. Dreams respond to action, not intention. Here is a simple principle. Goals are achieved in private long before they are celebrated in public. What the world applauds is the final result. What it never sees is the daily discipline, early mornings, uncomfortable choices, and repeated effort when no applause is coming. People often say, "I know what to do," but knowledge alone changes nothing. Many people know how to succeed. Few are willing to do what they know consistently. Discipline is the bridge between knowledge and results. Without discipline, goals become frustrating reminders of what might have been. They sit in the back of your mind, quietly draining confidence. Over time, people stop setting goals, not because they lack ambition, but because they lack trust in themselves to follow through. That loss of self-trust is expensive. Discipline rebuilds that trust. Every small promise you keep to yourself strengthens confidence. Every disciplined action says, I can rely on me. And once you trust yourself, momentum begins. Goals also require sacrifice. You cannot keep the same habits and expect a different future. Every goal demands a price, and discipline is the currency. You either pay that price daily in effort or you pay later in regret. The danger is not aiming too high. The danger is aiming without structure. Discipline breaks big goals into small actions. It turns ambition into a schedule. It replaces hoping with doing. Set the goal, but then ask a better question. What must I do every day to make this inevitable? Because inevitability is born from discipline. When you discipline your time, your goals get space to grow. When you discipline your energy, your goals gain momentum. When you discipline your habits, your goals move closer, even on slow days. So don't abandon your goals. Don't lower them to match your comfort. Raise your discipline to match your vision, because wishes stay in the imagination, but discipline pulls goals into reality. And the moment discipline enters your life, goals stop being dreams and start becoming appointments with destiny. Life guarantees pain, but it gives you a choice about which pain you will live with. Most people don't realize this until years have passed. They spend their days avoiding discomfort only to discover that avoidance has a cost far greater than effort. The truth is simple and unavoidable pain is required, but you get to choose the source. Discipline is a decision made once. Regret is a payment collected daily. When you decide to live with discipline, you make a clear choice about your direction. You choose structure over chaos, effort over excuses, long-term benefit over short-term comfort. That decision may feel uncomfortable at first, but once it is made, it simplifies life. You stop debating with yourself. You stop negotiating with weakness. You know the standard and you follow it. The pain of discipline is usually light, but it is consistent. Waking up earlier, saying no to distractions, doing what must be done even when motivation is absent. These pains are small, manageable, and temporary. They build strength. The pain of regret, however, is heavy and relentless. It shows up as what if. It whispers late at night. It grows louder with time. Regret is the pain of knowing you could have done more, but didn't. And unlike discipline, regret offers no growth, only weight. Every day, whether you realize it or not, you are choosing your pain. Skip the workout, feel comfortable now, pay later in weakness. Avoid the difficult conversation, feel relief now, pay later in broken trust. Delay discipline, enjoy ease today, pay tomorrow in limitations. Discipline is uncomfortable in the beginning because it is unfamiliar. Regret is unbearable in the end because it is permanent. The most powerful thing about discipline is that it removes repeated decision making. Once the decision is made, this is how I live, your habits take over. Habits carry you when willpower fades. That is why discipline must begin with a firm decision, not a feeling. Feelings change, standards remain. People who fail are not weaker, they are undecided. They keep reopening decisions that should have been closed. They ask themselves every day whether they should do what they already know they must do. That internal debate drains energy and destroys momentum. Decide once. Then let consistency do the work. There is also pain in growth, but it is constructive pain. It stretches you, sharpens you, and prepares you for a larger life. Growth pain has purpose. Regret pain has none. When you discipline yourself today, you are protecting your future self from suffering. You are saying, I will not let comfort steal my potential. That is leadership over your own life. The question is not whether discipline hurts. The question is whether regret hurts more. Years from now, you will either thank yourself for the discipline you practiced or wish you had started sooner. The price will be paid either way. So choose wisely. Choose the pain that builds. Choose the pain that leads somewhere. Because discipline is a one-time decision that pays lifelong dividends, and regret is a daily reminder of a decision never made. Life does not move in the direction of our hopes. It moves in the direction of our habits. What you repeatedly do, whether by choice or by neglect, quietly shapes the life you will eventually live. The future is not something that suddenly arrives one day. The future is something you are practicing for right now. Every day is a training ground. You are practicing something, discipline or delay, growth or comfort, progress or stagnation. There is no neutral. What you rehearse daily becomes automatic, and what becomes automatic becomes destiny. People often ask, why am I stuck? The answer is rarely found in talent, luck, or opportunity. More often, it is found in daily practice. If you practice distraction, you become distracted. If you practice excuses, you become skillful at avoiding responsibility. If you practice learning, effort, and discipline, you become capable of handling greater opportunities. Practice builds identity before it builds results. A musician does not wait for the concert to practice. An athlete does not train only on competition day. They practice long before the performance because they understand a simple truth. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your preparation. Life works the same way. If you practice poor decisions daily, your future will demand strength you never develop. If you practice discipline daily, your future will feel familiar instead of frightening. You will not be overwhelmed by opportunity because you have been preparing for it all along. What makes daily practice powerful is its invisibility. No one applauds practice, no one celebrates preparation. But practice compounds. It works quietly, patiently, and relentlessly. One day, the results become visible, but by then, the habit is already formed. Many people want a different future without changing their daily routine. That is impossible. You cannot practice one lifestyle and expect another as a reward. Your future health is being practiced by how you eat and move today. Your future income is being practiced by how you use your time and skills today. Your future confidence is being practiced by how often you keep promises to yourself today. The smallest daily actions matter because they vote for the type of person you are becoming. Each disciplined choice is a vote for a stronger future. Each careless choice is a vote against it. The good news is this: you do not have to change everything at once. Change your practice, and the future changes automatically. Adjust what you do daily, and time will do the rest. Discipline is simply intentional practice. It is choosing actions that align with the future you want, even when that future feels far away, and over time, discipline turns effort into ease. What once felt difficult becomes natural. So ask yourself an honest question: what am I practicing every day? Because whatever it is, you are getting better at it. And one day, sooner than you think, your future will arrive and say, this is what you prepared for. Make sure it's a future worth practicing for. Most people want freedom immediately. They want results without restraint, rewards without responsibility, and success without self-control. But freedom does not arrive instantly. It is purchased over time, and the currency required is self-control. Self-control is not about denying yourself a good life. It is about delaying pleasure in order to design a better one. Every day, you are making purchases with your behavior. When you choose discipline over impulse, you are investing in your future. When you choose comfort over control, you are borrowing against tomorrow, and tomorrow always charges interest. Freedom is expensive, but is worth the price. Consider money. The person who lacks self-control spends today and worries tomorrow. The person who practices self-control saves today and chooses tomorrow. That choice compounds. Over time, discipline creates options to leave situations that no longer serve you, options to help others, options to live with dignity instead of desperation. Freedom of choice comes from controlled behavior. The same law applies to time. The person who cannot control distractions becomes a servant to urgency. Notifications dictate their day. Other people's priorities determine their future. But the person who controls time, who says no to lesser things, buys freedom to focus on what truly matters. Self-control is not weakness. It is power directed inward. Many people misunderstand self-control as restriction. In reality, it is preparation. A pilot controls the plane so passengers can travel freely. A leader controls emotions so decisions remain clear. A disciplined individual controls impulses so life remains intentional. Without self-control, freedom becomes dangerous. Too much freedom without discipline leads to excess confusion and collapse. History proves it. Personal lives prove it. Freedom without self-control does not last. The discomfort of self-control is temporary. The reward of freedom is long-lasting. Saying no today feels difficult. Living with regret later feels unbearable. Every act of self-control strengthens the next one. It builds confidence. It builds trust within yourself. You begin to realize that you are not ruled by cravings, moods, or circumstances. You are in charge. And that realization is the beginning of true freedom. Self-control also creates emotional freedom. When you control reactions, you are no longer imprisoned by anger, jealousy, or fear. When you choose response over reaction, you regain command over your inner world. The highest form of freedom is self-mastery. No one else can give you that. No opportunity can replace it. It is built choice by choice, day by day. So when discipline feels uncomfortable, remember this: you are not restricting your life. You are purchasing it. You are buying peace. You are buying options. You are buying tomorrow. And one day, when others wonder how you became so free, you'll know the truth. You paid the price early, and now freedom belongs to you.